Welcome back to Movies TV Man. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man. And welcome to Friday's edition of the MUFC Daily. Ralf is a very impressive person and manager. Even in his small, brief kind of stint as Manchester United manager, publicly identifying issues within the club, talking about the young players and the reserve players he played against, young boys, saying he gave them instructions and they didn't listen. So this is interesting. It's a way of saying, don't bloody well blame me. I told them what to do and they didn't do it. So they will damn well do what I say eventually, or they won't have a future here. But I think what's very interesting is the kind of football Twitter mentality about footballers. I see it all the time, and on YouTube channels. That player's done, that player's done. I'm sorry, I've tried to defend you, but you're done at this club. That mentality has gone out the window since Ralf Rangnick joined. This is a developer of players. If you're not playing very well, if you lack confidence, you will go and see the football psychologist. He will talk to you. He will work with you. Then on the training field, Ralf will work with you to improve you. You will need to train for extra hours, but Ralf will work with you one-on-one until you're the player that you should be, or the player that Ralf thinks you should be. Now this is very similar. It's really like, let's call it the Ray Parlour effect. Arsene Wenger came in to Arsenal Football Club with a huge drinking culture and confidence problem. He changed the face of the club, how it was run, and he did this actually very quickly, and the results we saw very quickly. Ray Parlour used to be sitting at the club bar, downing drinks. Then Wenger came in, banned alcohol, worked very closely with Ray Parlour, and we saw Ray Parlour becoming the player he always should have been. And I'm 49 years old. You may not remember those times, but I remember it very, very, it's like it happened yesterday. And this is the kind of manager and professor of football that Ralf Rangnick is. He will get rid of the negative culture from Manchester United and he will improve players. You will be surprised. So no one is done now at this football club. All these players will be improved, but they will have to meet Ralf and his team of coaches halfway. So this football social media thing that this player is a waste of space, maybe a player's not playing well now, but they will within a few weeks' time, I can assure you of that. Because Ralf's here to change the current culture of Manchester United. We had a manager and an assistant manager who didn't even take training, didn't even coach the team. But this is a manager and a professor of football who takes football training and football development to another level. In English football mostly, when they say football development, it's just a word. It sounds all important. But to people like Ralf, it's actually an act. It happens. Not an act as in doing something. It's real. He will develop these players, old or young. He will change their mentalities. It will take time and they will be all the better for it. So, get ready to be on this ride. But, as I keep on saying, there will be bumps in the road. But this is the type of person we've got at Manchester United. You will see Scott McTominay improve. Fred improved. Fred's doing quite well, but we want him to do better. There's a better player in there as well. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, people like that. He's going to work closely with these players. He and his coaches. And they're going to develop these players. And you're going to be shocked by the differences. So no player at this moment in time who's at Manchester United is done. People like Harry Maguire will have to come to the party. They will have to improve as players, or there will not be a place for them. So as long as you're willing to meet Ralf and these coaches halfway, then I don't think you're done. But saying all of that, I think Ralf has identified there is a problem within the midfield. And I think we are going to do some business in January. It will be interesting when he's been asked at press conferences. He said he will be discussing that, but he doesn't want to focus on that right now until the window opens. Which, you know, before you know it, it'll be here. So I expect us to sign at least one player. But who knows what Ralph's up to. It's going to be very interesting, the Ralf Rangnick era, however long or short it's going to be. I believe he's here for the foreseeable future, beyond this next 6 months as well. But already you can see the change of mentality. And interestingly enough, McTominay spoke about Ralf Rangnick's coaching style. Very, very disciplined, very direct. You know exactly what he wants from you and he expects you to give it. So already the players, and apparently it's been said that the players are very, very impressed with Ralf Rangnick. They're probably more shocked that they've actually got a manager telling them how to do things that make sense to them. It's not rocket science what Ralf is doing, but developing your players, improving your players, identifying their weak points as footballers isn't something you should be afraid of. But unfortunately for someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when you want to be everybody's mates and you've got your favourites, it's a bit of a problem when it becomes an old boys club, because you can't go up to Maguire and say, Harry, there's an issue we need to address within your defensive style. He's not going to take it off of him. This is the problem. You need someone who players respect. This is a guy with an impeccable CV. Again, this is not about winning trophies and winning 20 league titles. This is about the clubs he's developed. And redeveloping is exactly what Manchester United need. This is the right person for the job. So either Ralf stays as manager for years to come, or he brings someone in like Ten Hag who will continue his work while Ralf goes upstairs. Ralf needs not kind of some flimsy title, which means he does other work away from the club. He needs to be sporting director. If that means John Murtough is still football director, fine, keep the title, mate. But we need someone who understands the game. So bringing in Ralf was absolute common sense. So patience is needed from us, the fans, because as I say, the road will be bumpy. And you know, I mean, people like Moyes and Mourinho, I did get frustrated with bad results, but they weren't doing anything away from the club. You know, anything, you know, in the club. They weren't redeveloping the club. The only person who attempted to redevelop the club was LVG, but LVG wasn't very vocal about what he was doing behind the scenes, but he did a lot of good work, especially with the youth system behind closed doors. He just never bragged about it. It was second nature to Louis. Louis did it at Ajax, he does it at all the clubs he's at. So he didn't get the credit, and he deserved the credit. But Ralf is a different breed, and he tells, you know, the fans and the media, you know, what his plans are and what he's doing. And I think it's very important in the modern game to speak. I'm still wondering all the good things that Ollie did, because people keep on telling me he did a lot of good things for the club. I'm just wondering, beyond that knock-on effect, when he joined as a temporary manager, what good things has he done? Because you certainly can't give him credit for youth development, as I explained. That was Louis van Gaal, who should be patted on the back for that, whether you like him as a manager or not. So we have now got the real deal at Manchester United. We haven't had the real deal since Sir Alex Ferguson stepped down. We have a manager, a hungry manager, an ambitious manager. He's brought talented coaches, you know, a psychologist, a football psychologist. You know, this is going to be amazing, because once he actually starts changing the mentality of the club, the owners, the executives, the board members and the players, we're going to be a very special, not just the first team, but a very special football club. This is how football clubs are forged, by right decisions being made by upstairs, and downstairs having the right people, you know, running the club. And Ralf Rangnick and his coaches are exactly the kind of people you want running Manchester United Football Club. So if you're an intelligent person, and I assume if you're watching this video you are, because you're not getting a normal shout, are you saying, I don't want this formation, I hate this formation? We are speaking calmly about the nuance of having a professor of football at Manchester United. And this is a great decision by the club. Credit to the club, who have made a lot of mistakes but have started making better decisions recently, ever since the fans demonstrated. So credit to the Glazers, Ed and John Murtagh, for looking what the fans said and, you know, actioning that. That's in terms of what they're doing to redevelop the statement, to redevelop the stadium, and, you know, things like that. So I think, but what I would say about people on two people of social media, I know you've all got your favourite players, but this is now going to be irrelevant. We can't continue with this situation where we like, you like Mason, so you think, what's his name? What's his bloody name? Gives to kids, feeds kids. Rashford, Marcus Rashford. I forget the names of the players that I actually support at my club. Sorry about that. But yeah, you know, just because Marcus Rashford seems a bit tired, a bit rusty since his injury, it doesn't mean he can't be a great player. And by the way, Rashford is going to be improved and redeveloped by Rangnick as well. So these are exciting times. So the days of having your favourite players and putting down other players. I saw something disgusting on the internet, on my Twitter feed. There was this father showing off that this young boy, his son was wearing a David De Gea top. And all these Henderson fans were slaughtering this father and the child. It was disgusting. This is what I'm talking about. This has to stop. We are Manchester United supporters, so we must support every player at the club. And that's the end of it. If they play badly or we think they're being lazy, we can be constructive about that. Of course, they're not beyond reproach. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not talking a top Reds mentality from me or my channel. I'm talking about nuance and being supportive towards players and understanding. No matter how badly a player plays now, they are going to be improved by this professor of football. These are very exciting times for Manchester United Football Club and us, the fans. This has been the MUFC Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. You don't think this is perfection? How dare you? Hit the notification bell anyway, and I'll see you tomorrow with even more MUFC Daily. Until then, goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen.